I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Why so serious?
I could crush you like a worm.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no try.
All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to Christian Warrior Talk, BYOBB. Bring your own booze and buddy.
Yeah, we did our job. How
Yeah.
about you guys?
Yeah, so I know that we're just getting started. I'm seeing people hop on Facebook and YouTube. Remember, what's that?
I'm just wondering. I saw it spinning a little bit there.
Yeah, that part's okay.
Okay.
The stream, the 30 frames per second is the key.
Okay.
So our upload speed is better than ever. Our download speed is the suck right now. So we're having some awesome internet issues, and we almost were going to cancel the show tonight, but we figured to give it a go. CenturyLink, if you guys do not have CenturyLink, don't get it.
You don't get it.
The only people who have CenturyLink are people who have no other option. They're terrible. They price gouge. They overcharge. They literally rip you off every chance they get. Like every time I call, I'm finding hundreds of dollars of expenses on there and having to go back and fight for credits. And
So apologies if it's a little choppier than
let
normal.
us know how the signal is. We appreciate that. And we're going to do everything that we can here to make sure that we have literally the best amount of bandwidth as we possibly
And
can
for the
get.
crew that's on Facebook right now, I've put the link to the video in chat. If you guys are willing to hop over to YouTube again to help our viewing minutes, that would be awesome.
All right, so we got
Sign
something-
off on what you're drinking tonight.
So
Who you told about the show?
Yeah. So let's get this started before we get our first strength and honor. All right. Welcome.
It worked. It worked.
Welcome to Christian Warrior Talk on the Patriot Crusader Mission YouTube channel. This is episode 28 of BYOBB. Happy Friday to everyone.
Happy
and
Friday.
our first strength and honor to you for making it through another week in the sucktastic year known as 2021.
Strength and honor, strength and honor,
Cheers.
strength and honor.
I know we were all hoping that 2021 was going to get better than 2022. It's worse.
So was that wine.
Oh, yeah. Lauren is scraped. She didn't want to go white with me.
No.
Tonight. Yeah, how would you pronounce that?
Viognier.
I am drinking Trump White. This is what brought me back to white. This bottle of wine is so good. It's 2016, obviously the best year of
The
politics
best
we've
year.
ever had. And it's a Viognier.
Viognier. Yep.
It's a Viognier. It's white. It's freaking phenomenal. But if you see ice cubes floating in it, it wasn't chilling. I didn't chill it, so I needed to drop it to temp. So I know I'm
We're
ruining
classy.
it.
We're
Yeah,
classy.
yeah.
up
I
in
know
here.
I'm ruining a really good bottle of wine, but
Still, it's
whatever.
probably better than the bottom shelf red that I'm drinking. It's like super sweet.
Yeah, double masking. No, triple masking now, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the more masks, the merrier.
The more
I
rest,
mean,
yeah.
it's just ridiculous. But hey, Salty Sam, good to see you. Salvador, good to see you. Man, what a challenging week overall. Cancel culture is still raging in full effect. I saw, woke up one day, I ended up doing a rant or whatever you want to call it on Instagram, where I said it's time. Like, we are lost as a country if people don't respect themselves more than they respect their entertainment.
Entertainment, comfort, amenity. Yeah.
Like I said, and like we said, we went over this last week. If I can't get cops to stop watching the Super Bowl for their best interest, well, who's going to stop watching The Mandalorian because they canceled a conservative viewpoint? Mm-hmm. Right? When literally the star of the show said far worse on the left side, but she said something very mild on the right, and we're just going to tolerate it, and people will still back, Disney whatever,
Disney Plus,
and the rest of it. And, I'm just to the point now where this is going to sound really bad, or maybe to some, but I'm spending my free time with my family, working on my business, and working on that book right there.
I think that's the opposite of sounding really bad.
I know, but some people are going to be like, that's, the old me would have been like boring, but I'm finding that I'm getting far more out of life, and it's helped me deal with the challenges that I have. And let me tell you, we were debated on not talking about this coming into this show, but I think this has been one of the most stressful weeks of our marriage that we've had. For me,
one of the top. Yeah, there are not many, so they stand out.
Yeah. So this week was a really big challenge for us. Basil Hayden here in Vegas. Good evening.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, really, Chris?
Gina, oh, man, that's McNeely. Hey, what's going on, McNeely? Hey, Chris.
Is Danae with us? Yes, there she is.
Danae's here. Wow, we got the whole crew here tonight. All right. For getting a strong turnout this Friday, strength and honor to you.
All
Let's
of
get this
you.
going. And I'm going to be taking some gulps because it's been one hell of a week for me here. So...
Was that a gulp? That was one gulp. Okay. All right, we're starting off strong, guys. I hope you kept up with that one.
I'm just saying that this week has been sucktastic to the extreme. So I'm filling up on
Sky says soon Lauren will be able to call you Want Papa.
Want Papa? Why am I Want Papa?
Because of your, oh, man. Party foul.
See what happens there? She said, want Papa.
And the mic doesn't want me to say anything bad about you.
Hey, Rambo Boyle, strength and honor. Order some strength and Texas Cash. That's what I'm talking about. All my peeps are here tonight. Strength and honor back at you guys. So,
what do you think of the shirt? What did you get, the T-shirt or the sweatshirt?
They're awesome, man. The strength and honor line that we created. We got decals, T-shirts, sweatshirts. We put a lot of time and effort into designing them. I think we did a good job.
Yeah, no, so they'll be here in about a week. So hopefully for next Friday,
yeah,
we'll be able to wear our...
Be able to model them, and they're, I know that's not good with me, but if it'll look good on me, it'll look good on you. I promise. So if it can help me. But
John Boyle, there are schmediums available for you if you want to pick one up.
Yes, there are extra schmediums for you, John Boyle. We know that you don't own a shirt over the size of medium. So,
and they come in pink also.
And they come in pink to go with your salmon shorts. Firefighters have crazy ideas of fashion, man. We are going to Godspeak tomorrow, so fewer strength and honors for us tonight. Well, awesome. I'm glad you're going to Godspeak. You can go to Godspeak on a Saturday after having a few. Just, you shouldn't be smelling like
Is it an early morning for you to be able to attend, or what's the problem? Guilty as charged.
Guilty.
Oh, we know, John. You post the evidence everywhere.
Yeah, you're not shy about it. You're like... if you were a criminal, you'd be confessing to your crimes. You'd be the guy, here's me robbing the bank. I'm the guy with the mustache.
Not pink, it's lavender.
Is lavender pink?
No, lavender is purpley.
That's purple, isn't it? Or is that lilac I'm thinking of?
No, lavender is purpley.
All right. Long drive from Vegas.
Okay.
Got it. That's what caffeine's for, brother. Go order you a couple bags of Death Wish coffee, highest caffeinated coffee out there, and just start chugging that like I just did that last one. So we want to call out our supporters again tonight and start this strength and honor, get everyone to a happy place before we roll into mine and Lauren's drama.
No, Chris,
drama.
Chris Scott, sorry, you might be drinking more than you intended.
Yeah. Let's go to everyone who bought the new swag. So Chris Kaz for picking up some swag. Strength and honor to you, brother.
I need to switch hands here.
And then Deb Graham.
Deb Graham got
picking
a
up
T-shirt.
some great new swag today. Strength and honor.
We appreciate you.
So let's get into, that rave, and then we'll get into, or that rant, and I'll get into my drama with Lauren and give you the updates on the moves and all the other great stuff. And maybe you'll learn something today, like how not to argue with your wife, because it didn't go well for me. After I won the last argument on Friday night on school and COVID lockdowns, since that was a unanimous decision that I won that argument.
We
I haven't won one since.
That debate after.
She has resented me for winning that argument and brought that into this, or else this would have been resolved. But
okay. I see why we are where we are. All of the stuff you spin up in there. All right. Let's talk about your cancel culture rant first.
Yeah. So again, we have to get fully engaged in this culture war, right? Right now we have gotten our butt kicked all across the country. I mean, we just suffered a major defeat with this election garbage. And we all know all the ridiculousness that went into that. We all know all the crimes and the fraud and everything else that went with that. But we straight up got our butt kicked. And we got our butt kicked because we haven't been holding media accountable. Mm-hmm. We have been losing the culture war. So CNN can get on there and lie all day. ABC, NBC, CNN, NBC, well, whatever they all are. CNN, CNBC,
CBS,
whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many of them out there. And our family members watch that stuff and they think they're getting the truth. And it's our job as Christians to bring the truth to them. Now, I know you may not want to talk politics and you may not want to talk right versus left, but if you're not talking life, like literally life with your family, you're complicit in this stuff, man. You might as well be right there driving them to the freaking clinic yourself, because their vote is going to be paying for abortions all over the world. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. If you don't want to talk to them about how illegal immigration hurts jobs and will hurt their family, their wages, and repress their wages and take away jobs, you're part of the problem. If you don't want to talk about how, anti-gun laws and anti-Second Amendment laws are going to drive your family further away, guess what? We're moving further south getting away from our family in the north, because we'll never live in a place where the Second Amendment isn't protected. There's just no way we're going to do that. So there are consequences to them voting on their on Donald Trump's personality.
Yeah.
Like, can anyone honestly say something's better today than it was when Biden in office, other than the 0.0001% of trans who can do whatever they want now and, are in the military and this is wherever that, outside of that, is there anyone's life is better? More people are unemployed. Yeah. This whole COVID thing that he said he had this master plan, it's the same exact plan. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, it was the same exact plan that Trump did. He's doing the same thing. Like, Trump didn't purposely do a bad job. He did the best job he could do. He got out, 4 vaccines now, whatever like that, in record time. Yeah. And they're just piggybacking on that. In fact, I saw that they're getting ready to do travel restrictions to Florida to punish DeSantis.
I've seen.
Right. So they're going to open up travel to all these, I almost swore, all these bleep hole countries, right, that no one wants to go to, that are third world war zone, that you go there and it's raw sewage everywhere. It's kind of like San Francisco, raw sewage in the street, except it's rivers of it.
Well, the bigger irony, I guess, is the border crossing. All of the people that they're letting in that you were talking about, they're being even looser with them on COVID restrictions and screening and all of that stuff. Just sure, come on in, no problem.
Yeah.
But then restricting travel on us within their own country.
So you have to put a mask on your
3 masks.
3 masks on your 2-year-old on a plane who doesn't understand anything and is freaking out. But they can just walk across the border and do whatever the hell they damn want.
Yep.
I mean, that is your Democrat family, right? I know it's not you guys watching this show. That's your Democrat family. And, you know, I know we have a couple guys on here, or we have one Democrat who watches our show who's a Trumper. I'd like to know what Democrat policy he actually, it's Joe. Right? It's
William.
Oh, it's William. William. The guy who's 80 who got mad that guy called him all the way through.
Yeah.
He's feeling better than ever. I have received the I Kneel for No Man Except for Jesus t-shirts that are outstanding. Today I ordered the t-shirts for Strength and Honor. I should have ordered the hoodie. We'll correct that tomorrow. Thanks, Texas Kaz. So for those of you guys who don't know, Texas Kaz is a friend of mine who I went through BUDS training, together. We were at BUDS training together. And he went on to start his own company called Texas Angel Oil. It's the best olive oil you'll try. We really, really love it. I love the garlic. I love their pepper. Love their scrub. Their that awesome bee honey scrub. Body scrub stuff. It's really good stuff. It's a biblical company from a great guy who's a class act, disabled vet. You know, if you're in them, if you're buying Joey's, Bertoli's,
grocery store olive oil,
go get on there and kick some love to Kaz, because
Texas Angel Oil.
Texas Angel Oil, it is great stuff. Where in Texas? He's in, I want to say he's in like by Dallas somewhere, but I could be wrong there.
Kaz, why don't you answer?
Yeah, you might answer that. Hey, Brandy Hip, welcome. Good to see you. The EOs that they've revoked for immigration is the executive orders is going to allow more terrorism incidents and higher traffic. Yeah, we caught. Nice. I'm lucky I caught this live. Hey, Harold. Good. Welcome, Harold McBoing Boing. Here's a strength and honor to you for making it live for the first time. Here you go. But, no, honestly, they just caught 13 Iranians at the border.
Yeah.
13 Iranians. Do you think they were like freedom-wanting Iranians coming in through the Mexican border? I don't think so.
One can hope.
Yeah.
Any violence that happens is just going to then reinforce their argument for gun control. So it all feeds into their narrative one way or the other.
Yeah. Let me hop on here, and Danae is asking for the link for Texas olive oil. If you Google,
Kaz, can you just put it in the chat?
I don't know if he can. If he can, great. But yeah, Kaz, go ahead and put that link in there, because people want to support you. You're a great company, and that's back to the culture war. Before I get sidetracked there, we have to engage in this culture war, people. I know we don't want to be cancel culture people ourselves. I'm not telling you not to spend your money with people. I'm telling you to spend your money with people who share your values. Mm-hmm. Right. I understand that if Target's the only grocery store or whatever you got in your town and you have to go there because the next one's an hour and a half away, you can hold your nose and shop at Target if you have to. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, finding those small businesses in your community that are dying right now and that are in your church or in your community, who sponsor the darn baseball teams, who are a part of everything that you care about. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that need you, and that's where we need to spend our money. We need to spend our money, our precious money, because there's less of it and it's worth less than ever right now.
Well, and the more we support
in our community.
Yeah, the more we support the conservative businesses, the more they'll be able to hire conservatives who are being outed at their other place of business and potentially getting fired or canceled themselves. So we that kind of force multiplies safe haven employment for conservatives.
Yeah, and you know what? You're blessing them. And what happens when you bless a fellow believer? Blessings come back on you. Right? So going out of your way to bless fellow believers, it will come back to you tenfold. Trust me. It's always worked out that way for us. And You know, you can feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to make any, you know, going and spending a couple $100 at Target, are you going to make a difference? No, but that might be the difference between profit and loss in a small town grocer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, it might be the difference between small profit and loss for the small, you know, the small, you know, used kids store, you know, or kids clothing store, whatever. That's
absolutely. I mean,
kid to kid or whatever it's called.
Just the people who support us through the merchandise, that makes a huge difference. So, or the Patreon subscribers, anything like that for a small business.
Lauren's going to get on her phone here and drop Kaz's thing in there for you. I don't know if he's got rights to do it or if he's tech savvy enough to figure that out.
Or if he's just being humble.
But, you know, seriously, you know, going out and supporting these independent artists. I have been all kinds of choked up over Tom McDonald. If you haven't seen Tom McDonald, he looks like a complete, you know,
not what you'd expect
he looks like
to be inspired
disaster. He looks like a complete disaster. He's a white guy. I don't know how tall he is, but I wouldn't call him short. I'd call him whatever. He's got braids. He's got tattoos over his face, all over his face, piercings, you know, the whole spiel. And he's a very broken, you know, individual, and he talks about how broken he is. But he's on the path of redemption, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he sticks up for Christianity. He's very pro-life. He's really big at pointing out hypocrisies. And he has said some things that I don't agree with, but I'm not the guy who's going to sit there and say, hey, you say 10% of what you say is bad, so you're all bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
As long as the morals of it seem to be on the right path.
And the thing is he's an independent artist. He's out there, and everyone tried to cancel him, and everyone tried to do whatever. But people went in, and they want to hear what he has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the dollar speaks. The dollar speaks. Yep. The Super Bowl was the lowest rated Super Bowl since like 1995.
Yep.
That is awesome news, guys. That is awesome, awesome, awesome news.
Yep. So
that means that we're making a dent. The NBA, right? That turd.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. So, you know, here's where you need to put your viewing hours. Stop watching Shark Tank. Stop supporting Mark Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mark Cuban told his team he wasn't going to play the national anthem before the Dallas Mavericks. Hear that, Texas? Your Dallas Mavericks were not going to play this national anthem before it. And then the NBA originally supported it. They got so much backlash, so much hate that they caved, and now they're making all teams do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Which that's a surprising stance for them. I mean, kind of with how woke all of those sports organizations have been in the last couple of years, for them to come out so quickly and take a stand for the national anthem. I'm kind of surprised that they did that.
Well, because Trump's out of
they're
office. If Trump had got up there, they couldn't support Trump, so whatever. So now it's just Biden, and you're kind of supporting Biden. But, you know, it's just all gotten so watered down, and it's so bad. I'll still never watch an NBA game.
Are they playing the black national anthem?
I'm sure. Which the fact that we have two national anthems is a freaking disgrace.
Yeah.
Right? We all bleed red, white, and blue. Right? I am I'm going to say it. I am a Christian nationalist, meaning I love Jesus and I love my country. Oh, my God. I know. I mean, right now the FBI is going to call me a terrorist and all these other things. But I don't care about your skin color. I don't care where you came from. I don't care about your past. I care about your future. If you're willing to embrace red, white, and blue in Jesus Christ and be born again, moving forward with that, that's all I care about. I've been a horrible person. I've been a sinner. I've broken just about every one of the 10 commandments. All right? And let me tell you something. It's, I'm not proud of it. I'm disgusted by it. But at the same time, I want to welcome those of you who used to live that way to start living a different way.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier now. And it doesn't mean that life's easy. Life's not easy. But when people typically ask me 99 out of 100 days, how's your life going? And this is what it's been since 2020 started. Family's great. I'm happy. I'm healthy. Finances suck, but whose doesn't, right? How many other businesses are in the same thing? And that's just been kind of my mantra right now. And you guys are right there with us. Now Lauren and I, might as well get into this unless there's any other questions on the culture war. We all bleed, red, white, and blue. green for those vets. I hear you, McNeil. I say we all bleed red, white, and blue, but red is good too. I don't care about any of that. All I care is about is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Do we embrace the same values as a culture?
Yep.
That is the one thing, like Tucker Carlson said, culture is the one thing we should all have in common. If you don't have that in common, what do you have? You don't have a country.
Yeah. And that's kind of where the diversity thing, good intentions, that's where it's backfired, and that it got muddled, that diversity
So
means
now we don't have
to
any
have
identity.
different culture. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is completely, the problem. So let's get into, one of the worst weeks of our marriage. So, which is still like a 9, but
Chris Scott.
what do you say?
It hit it because I thought it was going to be a bad comment. My wife is still a racist. God bless you for keeping her around, Chris.
You can unhide that
I
and
did.
come on air,
I
babe.
did.
So, so we have been really trying to figure out what we're doing next, and that is really caused a lot of strife within the family. Not that we disagree on where we need to go. It's just I am a gut feeling guy. I do my homework. I do dive in to some things, but I don't check 100 things to make sure that everything's good. I check the top 20. Lauren and her family check the top 1,000 things and then compare to the other 1,000 things of the other models. And this is to buy a clothes dryer that has been broken for 10 years. And they go another year and making a decision to buy a clothes dryer.
They get things that last a long time by doing due diligence and buying smart.
Lauren is the best. I am by no means beating on Lauren. I'm just saying that it's been a really tough week for me. So, I'm a Christian warrior. I am the head of my family, and I'm supposed to lead the family. And we have been coming into some pretty decent conflict on that, meaning that and a lot of this is an internal dialogue, right, guys? What your partner is saying to you, or your husband or wife or spouse, or when you're in any debate with anyone, what you hear is not necessarily what they say, because you're bringing all your baggage and all your past and all your wounds forward, and then that's big piling on that. So that's why it's really important when things start getting hot with Lauren and I say, listen, I'm not saying that this is what you're saying. I'm not saying that I am correct in my translation of what you're saying. But this is what I am hearing. Mm-hmm. And what I am hearing is almost never what she's saying. Is that correct?
Very often the case, yeah.
Yeah. So from what I am picking up from what she's saying, because of, again, my wounds, my experience, my perspective coming in, and Lauren is a minimalist. On paper, when she writes a letter to you or an email, it is like Shakespearean. It's like or Stephen King, if it's a horror novel. It's voluminous.
It's a horror novel.
Yeah.
I've never written you a horror novel. Come on.
But I'm just saying, it is very descriptive. It's great. It's written in world class. Her oral skills talking are like a little different.
I am not good in the moment.
You've gotten way better.
Especially when it's like debate mode. And you've seen, you guys saw how he debates last week. So he brings a lot of passion. And it's hard sometimes to think on your feet against the passion that he brings to his side.
All right, so here's the Lauren. Let's give Lauren a strength and honor for dealing with me anyway. So to Lauren, there you go.
Thanks.
So anyways, I don't know what is the best answer for us.
So the debate's been RV or go to the rental, and there are pros and cons to both, and in part it's the goal and kind of what in his mind he's attached to the RV option.
Yeah, but I mean, my whole thing is if I am researching the RV, or if I go in there, or if my wife is not going to be happy in the RV, I'm not going to do it because I don't want an unhappy wife. I'm smart enough to know that if my wife is not happy in her day-to-day existence, then my life is going to freaking suck, and I want no part of that.
Especially if it sucks in a 400, 300 square foot box.
Exactly. So, so Lauren went out there and got on a bunch of RV boards. And if you haven't been on RV boards, they're typically a bunch of haters that don't want you to come on an RV with them because they don't want you taking up campsites that they want to have. And you'll get people who actually send you private messages and say, hey, there's a bunch of haters on these boards. Don't listen to them.
2 people did, yeah.
Right. And there's a bunch of people recently because of COVID that got into RVing that normally wouldn't be into RVing. And so doesn't matter, right? I want to make the right decision for my family. So my thoughts with the RV were, what an awesome podcast. To be able to take this to the next level, to wrap that, wrap a big, F-350 or 3500 Chevy, wrap a big RV, travel the country, hit training sites, visit Chris Scott and Danae and others.
It is crazy expensive to rent an RV.
Yeah.
For what did you say? $250?
I tried.
plus a night?
No. Right. So I tried to rent one for a night so we could get a feel of a layout of one locally. And it was 17 miles away. They wanted $200 to drop it off round trip, $250 for the night, and then $100 in like taxes and fees and whatever, cleaning and whatever. So it was like almost $700 for one night.
Yeah.
To sleep in our own driveway. And it was like, what? So, so again, we could, and that would prevent us from doing a really bad mistake going forward, right? I mean, it would be, it would really prevent us from trying to find, it's the wrong one. Hold on 1 second there. I was trying to make so I could see how many people were online on the wrong stream.
So lifestyle is one factor to this, and that obviously it's a significant change. We are trying to fit a lot of factors into an RV. 3 large dogs, which apparently, unfortunately, we have a pit bull type dog, and a lot of parks have breed the what is it called? BSL, breed specific legislation. They don't let pit bulls in because they carry over those stupid rules, which is a renting issue also. And we were hoping that RVing might be a way around that. And it sounds like a lot of parks carry that over. Anyway, so we have the 3 dogs, we have the toddler, we have business, we have all of that. So it's a lifestyle issue. For me, it's also a finance issue. We are trying to dig out of a hole and going into a situation where we're going to have to finance a more expensive truck and finance a very much more expensive RV, plus unknown expenses for maintenance, emergencies, all of that stuff. It didn't seem like we were being financially wise to go that route for the more secure, known costs of a rental.
Yeah, and I just looked at it. If you're renting, you're just lighting your money on fire. There's literally no worse thing you can do. If you're not paying off something, then you're literally paying somebody else's mortgage off. So to me, we already have a $600 Suburban payment. We already have, our mortgage right now is $2,500. And you take that's $3,100. And I can guarantee that our 2 payments combined, we're going to be probably a third of that. So, I was looking at that. And, for me, it was an easy way for us to check a lot of boxes. We wanted to go up and study under Ken Graves up there and Bangor, Maine. And Bangor, Maine, guys, rental market up there is like ridiculous. Last time we moved to Maine, we found one house in the entire state of Maine that would take us. Mm-hmm. One. That's with excellent credit. That's with a ton of money up front because we have dogs. And it was in the middle of the COVID, which we're still in the middle of COVID. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of liberals from the cities down south fleeing up north. And it was a really, really tough market. We bid on like 4 houses and were bought out by cash that day, sight unseen. Mm-hmm. Like it was crazy. So, and I hate to tell all those people who bought Maine's not that cool. Like the coolest part of Maine is Ken Graves in mine.
I saw an article today about how a lot of people who in a kind of a panic bought houses in COVID, that they are very quickly regretting those decisions, which I would imagine a lot of, because of how the bidding wars and everything that were going on, people paid way too much for houses.
And that housing market can't keep up with that. Like those houses are going to crash. So get a Class A and tow a truck. Class A's are so much
more expensive,
right? And the thing is, when you get a Class A, you can't just take it to the Ford dealership to work at or the Chevy dealership when you have a problem. You're going to take it to a Camper's World or something like that where they can work on a giant. So getting a fifth wheel, without a doubt, is the right choice. You know, a fifth wheel toy hauler is to narrow it down. You get the separation of living, and you get the from the work quarters from the living quarters. It's flex space. It's got a side patio deck. It's got a back patio deck. It's really freaking cool, right? But it's a total different way of living. And, you know, my wife is amazing at a lot of different things. Adjusting to change is her weak spot, you know, and, you know, that is going to be a lot of figuring out. And I didn't do a good enough job selling it. I felt like what I can't stand when I'm trying to work a deal with someone, whether it be a sales deal with a company or negotiating on something or trying to get somewhere. If I feel like someone is trying to find a way out instead of trying to find a way to make it work, it drives me insane and it sours the whole process and it builds a lot of bad goodwill. And what Lauren, I felt like was kind of instantly gravitating towards all the negatives and not looking at any of the positives. And it was really tough for me. I'm like, here I am. I'm supposed to be leading my family. Here I am, you know, my wife doesn't trust me, you know, and the fact that my wife doesn't trust me now made me doubt myself. And I went from an extremely confident person last Friday to totally doubting myself about everything. Like, this is how the enemy works, guys. He gets a beach hold on it, and whether it's true or not, I should have brought it to Lauren immediately and said, is this what you are saying and what you mean? Because instead I had 5 days of hell where I felt like my wife didn't trust me anymore, didn't trust my leadership, and, you know, and we weren't on the same page and didn't want the same things. And it was a really rough place. What about you, Lauren?
I am the detail person. And so my approach is always to look at the things that might be overlooked kind of as part of the dream, which you are exceptional at dreaming and pointing at the star and coming up with big picture plans. And I usually fill in the gaps with the details. And so I think it often comes across as looking for all of the negatives by looking at the details and saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? I can always, it's a trait of my family to always look at the negatives before the positives. And I can certainly do better to reinforce the good parts of a plan before. I think both things need to be addressed.
Well, it's like, for example, the way things work, and we won't get into personal stuff from early on in the relationship or any of that other stuff. We'll get into, here we go with, hey, I just found this really great place, and it's got this and this and this. And instead of acknowledging that this, and this, I usually get, but it's got this, and this instead of acknowledging, hey, yeah, you're right. It's got a great yard. It's got this, but it's 90 minutes from my parents when I only wanted to be 61 minutes from my parents.
That's why I'm called Wah Wah Mama. I mean, what can I say, guys? I earned that name for a reason.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Strength and honor for vulnerability and honesty. Here we go.
I am often left feeling, because I'm the detail person and looking to see if there are things that are going to backfire, that I'm the one kind of carrying the care for the family in thinking about whether something's going to work or not. As far as, is this going to hurt us financially? Is this going to to work for the day-to-day logistics, etc.
So do you think I would do something
Hi, Scott.
purposefully to hurt our family?
Purposefully, no.
Do you think that I'm a total tool and I'll overlook the simple stuff? Fine print is one thing. Anyone can miss fine print. I'm just
That's my job to look at. Fine print is often what gets you, as far as where people pitfall.
I understand that. I'm just saying that I want what's best for our family too.
Of course you
I
do.
want, you to be happy. I want baby B to be happy. I want to be successful in the lifestyle that we're in and everything that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Yeah, I was drinking on her.
No, good. Good.
I'm in trouble, guys.
No, he's not. We've
So-
heard all this before.
Yeah. So anyways, here I am. Now I'm in a crisis. I'm in a crisis of self-doubt. I start this downward spiral down the mountain of, my number one supporter, the person who believes in me, has lost faith in me. To be honest, and I don't think I'm alone in this in the business world. Since 2019 was my best year as making, all my fruition and plans that we made and all the hard work we did was paying off. We made good money, and 2020 was going to be our boss hog year. And then, we walked into the buzzsaw of 2020, and now we're in 2021. So it really makes you look like a terrible businessman when all of a sudden you go from successful business to not being able to adapt, to not being able to make it work, to whatever. My only saving grace to that is we're still in business and how many people aren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of credit for that. Credit due.
And, but it came to haunt me because I'm like, man, money that I wouldn't even consider taking before. Like to walk into a room, I wouldn't walk into a room for less than 10 grand before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not the case because it's a different reality and different world, and the market dictates what you're worth. But, it just makes me go back in hindsight 2020, look at all these decisions I made as a businessman, and then thinking that my wife is judging me by them, like pulling us out of Maine. There's a very good chance we pulled out of Maine too early, and that's my fault. We came back here to try to make a run in the business because we thought that Trump was going to win and that business was going to be roaring and that being in Virginia would be a great place and all those things, and then it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it just continued down the same spiral.
Mm-hmm.
So being in Maine, if you're making zero here or zero in Maine, the difference in Maine is every day we woke up, an extra $2,500 poor between rent and utilities.
Mm-hmm. Right. Versus being here where our mortgage is
where our
on
mortgage
pause.
is on hold and everything else.
Yeah.
So, I just want to be honest with you. It's been terrible. This week was just me doubting myself, knowing my wife's on the same team, but feeling that I failed her, failed my family, and it just started this avalanche of self-doubt that I do not have, and that really hasn't come around on me until I became a Christian, until like everyone's telling me that they're hearing from God this, they're hearing from God that, and God talks to them and all this stuff, and they got a two-way radio with the Almighty, and I got jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've had a couple feelings in my life that I know were divine, that were supernatural type things where I felt something, physically felt something. Other than that, I don't get a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And, when I do get one and we don't follow it, I don't know, I feel like it's a lack of conviction for myself between, in what I felt and what God said, or if he did do that and I'm not doing it, why would he even talk to me? And then if you're not hearing from God, does that mean that he doesn't care? He doesn't care what you do. He doesn't, what you do doesn't matter. He's going to be fine no matter what you do. So you might as well hey, let's chase money. Like, let's go all in and go to Nashville and bodyguard country music stars and do that, and it'll be great.
Just because you're saying if you're not hearing from him, then he doesn't care about us.
Yeah.
I don't think
Versus,
that's the
you know,
case.
doing PCM, which we love and which we feel like we're meeting a need, and that we hear from so many people that life is, you know, that we've had an impact on them. And, you know, but that's the harder road. That would have been made easier by the RV, in my opinion.
It's one version of it. I think that definitely in your mind has become the way to do it.
So Chris said struggling with pride. I don't think so. Like, I don't consider myself a proud guy.
You are confident, but I think that gets misconstrued for being prideful, but I don't look at it that way.
No, if anything, I just feel like I failed because my family, I mean, we're selling our house not from a power position or our position of power right now, but because we need to cash out right now because business isn't making money. That's pretty crappy. And Chris, we know your story. You know what it's like to be rolling in the dough and then all of a sudden have things happen, the market crash or COVID, and business dries up.
Yep. Yeah. It has been a hard week. I mean, I don't know quite where to go from here. I mean, I think I voiced my opinion today that I don't believe that the RVing is the correct next step for us. It doesn't mean it's not a step, but I don't believe it's the next step. And I feel like I let you down with putting that opinion out there. And obviously that is my opinion as the leader of the house. You can do with that what you will and decide otherwise. You know my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to do something that's going to I put our marriage first, you know, and like, holy smokes, we went down to one viewer. I'm like, I hope that was just a blip. Like, what did I say that was so bad? Yeah, no, I mean, I want you to be happy. And if you're not going to be happy, and here's the thing, it's an unknown. Like the RVing thing for us is, it's a whole new way of life that we don't know of how bad it's going to suck or how good it's going to be. I can promise you there'll be more good days than bad, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of like, you know, and this is, you know, I don't mind divulging this to you guys. It's kind of like, do I want to go study under, you know, one of my mentors, Ken Graves, or not, is what it comes down to. RVing guarantees that. Anything else does not. Going to Tennessee does not. It's the opposite of that.
Right. I mean, we can look at the rentals again, or something else could come through.
You know, and, you know, a farmhouse did come available in Maine just the other day. So, I mean, let me get to the resolution of this and where I think this could help you. And then we can get back to the strength and honors and the good time. Is the enemy is going to, once you have a chink in your armor, particularly when you're walking the godly lifestyle, once you have a chink in your armor, the enemy is going to pour everything he can into it. And every one of your wounds is going to be reopened to that. And you're going to, like, unfortunately, we reflexively see life through our wound.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever our wound is, whether it's abandonment, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's failure, whatever the heck it is, we see everything through our wound reflexively, and we need to take a moment and pause and really see what's going on. And I could have headed off a lot of internal dialogue and a lot of destructive, hurtful, self-doubting misery if I had just spoken to you sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so mad at you, I let that get in the way, or I was so hurt by it that you weren't seeing things my way, which of course you have every right to see it every way you want. I just couldn't believe you weren't seeing things the way that I was seeing them. So again, if I could have slowed it down and said, okay, my wife does, you know, maybe she thinks these things, but let me find out if this is really what she means by what she's saying. And I think it would have been a much more constructive thing. Do you have anything that you could have done better?
I mean, I think continuing to pursue dialogue more frequently. Obviously, continue to work on the way that I approach conversations to not immediately dump on excited ideas, to try to be more fair to them. And I think I often have thoughts or opinions that I keep to myself because I don't want to hurt your feelings, squash a dream, derail you. But by not speaking up, you then think I'm more on the same page than I am. And so then when I speak up later, it surprises you more because I've let you get farther down the road on it. And I think then it hurts more.
Yeah. You know, it's really, I mean, it's silly, but it's really, it's how we're built, people. You know, when you're trying to work through something, as, you know, Lauren and I are great, and we have I would say, a borderline flawless relationship until it becomes decision time, and that's like our kryptonite. I don't know if that's your relationship. I don't know if whatever, but and then sometimes I feel like Lauren avoids talking instead of, you know, in dialogue, and would be happy to just exist without addressing things, and it just fills the space with awfulness.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel when things are off just as much as you do.
No,
so
I mean,
it's
there
not
are times where you pursue, like, you know, it's awesome. Like I'll be retreating and you'll come and find me. And then there's times where I have to come to you. I just felt like this time here, if I didn't bring up anything, you would have sat in silence for like days.
That usually means I'm chewing something over and haven't figured out quite what to say yet.
All right, so let me get to some comments here. So, McNeely, I feel you, Jason. I felt that way for a while. It's tough being a husband and leading a family to the future unknown. I am constantly thinking of what I need to do and how to do it. It's true, man. It's really tough, and we talked about that in a previous episode of leading in these COVID-19 times where nobody knows what's going to happen. Here's what I can promise you. Housing prices are going to tank sometime in the near future. Like, so if you don't cash out the equity you have now, you're freaking screwed, right? So
if you have intentions to sell in the next couple years.
Or, you know, take out your home equity, whatever, because you want to make it work for you, whatever. I'm not a financial guy, right? I'm just telling you that there's no way all these, you know, at this economy, they're going to be able to throw a switch and we're going to go back to the way we were. The world is forever changed. There are businesses that are never coming back.
Yes.
Commercial real estate will never be the same. People working from home is going to be a reality going forward because of this experience. You know, restaurants are going to be doing curbside takeout forever now.
Yes. Yeah.
Grocery stores are going to be delivering forever now.
Yeah.
You know, all these things that are going on are going to be forever now. So again, you know, it's just part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, remember that God, all right, so marketplace dictates your worth. That is a lie from Satan. Thanks, Chris. But unfortunately, you know, if I want to charge 10 grand to walk in a room and no one's willing to pay 10 grand, even though they were last year, now they're only willing to pay 5, I can either not go in any rooms or I can do that. So
I think, you know, I mean, there's self-worth and all of that. It's kind of how are you looking at the word of what your worth is?
I'm talking about
just the business sense.
Right, the business part of that. So maybe, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Remember that God may need you where you currently are, hence why he hasn't mentioned anything to you yet. That may be correct, you know, and Chris Kaz from Texas Angel Oil was talking to me today. And he's like, Jay, maybe you haven't gone viral yet. Maybe none of your videos gone viral yet because you need to learn stuff before you're ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe your foundation isn't strong enough yet so that all that attention comes on you and you're going to be able to handle that storm.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a
point.
really good thing. So, so going down here, struggling with pride, maybe I already talked about that. With living in a moving home, you have to figure out you will miss not having a stationary piece of land. Yes, we will definitely miss not having a stationary piece of land under us that we own and can walk our dogs. Thing is, when we rent, we don't own anything anyways. It's somebody else's, and they can tell us what to do and how to do it. And the fact that we have a breed that's considered an aggressive breed, even though he's the least aggressive out of all three of our dogs, one being a black lab, the other being a mastiff, it can be really hard to rent.
Yes.
Like, ridiculously hard to rent. Like, offer to prepay your rent for a year, hard to rent. Example, I told Tamara that I wanted to move to Van Zandt County, 2 to 3 acres. She wants to stay in Seagoville because she knows all the neighbors and she's secure here, and if something happens to me. I get that, Brandy. That would drive me nuts too. I'm a guy, I'll make friends wherever I'm at. Like, that's not like knowing your neighbors in Seagoville versus Van Zandt. I mean, it's just knowing your neighbors, right? But, I get it. Lauren would be probably in Tamara's court there if she had a connection with the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Scott, no. God's will for you, not yours. I told you I want to go back to California, get into the fight. I feel Ken Graves so strongly, but I must do God's will. But T must.
But I must.
Will.
But I must.
Yeah. CS, that's right. I want to do God's will. That's all I want to do right now. Like, I'm willing to go into a $30,000 position from a 6-figure salary to serve God's will. I'm willing to do all that. I just don't know how to communicate that to my wife, and I don't know how to make my wife feel like that's God telling me and not me being crazy.
What is this $30,000 position?
I'm just saying, like, serving God. Like, if
But I'm not fighting that. Why are you saying it that way? That's where, I guess, are you misinterpreting my saying that you've put like the success of the podcast so completely in the RVing that by me saying, let's try renting in Tennessee is me saying, forget the podcast, forget serving God. Why can't we do that there?
I just think the scale of it will most likely be less versus a national scale, traveling, meeting people, visibility.
I don't think it's
unlimited benefits to being mobile.
I don't think it's fair to say that I am not trying to do God's will or keeping you from it by having a different view on how to do it.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't think you agree. Like, if I said God, like I went upstairs, I know what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I seriously was down here. I sat down and I had a moment, and that's gone. Right? You didn't buy into it. You don't want to do it. It's not your vision of it, and so it's an issue.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that I want one on your God feelings.
See, what do you do with that, right? I mean, I want to honor my wife. I want to do the right thing. I want her to be happy, and I don't want to like straight up jam something down her throat. I want her to want to come. I want her to go on that adventure. So, and I'm not even 100% sold on it. I see all the problems. I'm not blind. I see the struggles and the close quarters and all that, but I just think that, we have a pretty good network. I had somebody out of the blue today from the SEAL forums come up and say, hey, we've got a great place in Maine. You're welcome to hook up to our water and electric up there in the middle of 750 acres. Is that enough room for you? So I think that those are going to be more frequent than we would think. Like, that would be truly relying on God to open the right doors for us and to put us in the right places. But, again, there's a part of me that's scared to heck over that. Not like pulling out of this driveway and being like, where do you live? And not having an address.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of complications, obviously, with that lifestyle, of figuring out, I am more concerned, more scared about getting into financial unknowns, committing to more debt, You don't know what's going to happen to your RV that's going to cost an open-ended amount of money when we don't have emergency funds for life right now. Forget kind of maintaining what is the home.
Yeah, so we could drive out of here and total it a block and a half away.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what insurance is for, but it would be hell of inconvenient.
Yeah.
You know, so, and again, you know, so enough with the RV. I just wanted to go over why our struggle was so bad this week. And as you can see, we're still working through it. It's still very raw. I don't know what to do with it, guys, other than we're going to sell the house. And if there's a, you know, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this. If we sell the house and there's a dream fit for us in Tennessee, well, then we should probably go to Tennessee. If we go sell our house and there's a dream fit for us in Maine, then we should go to Maine. If there's none of the above.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things where we vary the most is we're in this obviously massive upheaval kind of period of transition, don't know what's next. And how you operate is you need the next step clear for you to have that start a drive on, as you say. And I look at it as the house isn't even on the market yet. We have the time that we're working now, the time during showings, the time during closing, all of that period of time to continue to investigate, do all of the due diligence on both options, the renting and the RV, to continue to narrow it down to what makes the most sense versus kind of committing to one now when we haven't done all the homework or look to see what options are out there.
Yeah, for me, it's just really hard for me to put all 8 cylinders or whatever on a destination if I don't know where I'm going. You know, there is a way of saying, hey, you're heading west, just drive west, and we'll figure out what city west once we get there. So, you know, we'll refine it down as we go. It's just, those are very different lifestyles, from selling everything to selling very little. Mm-hmm. Just putting everything in storage to wasting your money by putting it in storage. So there's a fundamental decision that has to be made, at least in that. Like Maine or Tennessee is almost irrelevant until it's time to start driving. It's what are you prepared to do and how you go about doing it, because it takes time to sell stuff, or else you basically have a pile of trash at the end of your driveway and everyone's getting it for free.
Yep.
You know, it's hard to buy an exact year, model, layout, floor plan of an RV that you want if you're not going to start engaging in that very early on in the process. Or you may get lucky. It may be a God thing. It might fall in your lap. Mm-hmm. You know, my main thing is that I feel like we've been so far apart on the what, why, when, and how. Well, not the when, but the what, why, and how. That has been hard to even do a step 2. So I get down in my office, I start working, and I start spinning. Mm-hmm. Because I'm trying to cover all my contingencies. Then I'm looking at Tennessee, I'm looking at Maine, I'm looking at RVs. And each one of those things is pulling away from the other thing. And each one of those things is pulling away from the work that I should be doing.
Right.
To try to earn to do that.
Yes.
And then I get into despair, and I sit there, and I'm like, holy smokes, what the heck am I doing? And then it's like, it's freaking pointless. And then I get mad at you. And I'm like, why doesn't she make a damn decision? And I start going down that path, and that's not healthy. And then we end up imploding on something like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so the main part of this that I want to get across to you guys is clearer communications will keep you from this. It's not going to solve anything, but it'll keep you from unnecessary wounds.
Yeah.
Right?
And I guess I would add in too, have a Christian friend that you can confide in, that can talk you through things, that has an outside perspective. You had a phone call today that you said brought you a lot of clarity and a lot of peace. Obviously didn't solve everything, but it helped you kind of reset a little bit. And I think picking that person that you go to is so important. If you go to someone who either doesn't like your partner or is not a Christian or will take your side no matter what, or whatever the case may be, will not present fair advice to you or Christian advice to you, they're not the right person to go to. You do not want it to be someone who's going to kind of encourage you to start bad mouthing your partner.
Right. Well, I had a lot of respect for what you did. You came to me and said that you were reaching out to Ken's wife to talk to her about our situation. And, and I was, Jeanette, and I thought I was very appreciative that you came to me to say, hey, I feel like she's someone I can talk to without compromising a relationship,
Yeah. Because I certainly have people that I choose to not talk to because showing them any kind of chink in our relationship, they would pile on.
Yeah. And same here, right? So we, choose who your inner counsel is.
Yeah.
Be very careful who your inner counsel is, because there are people who may be great drinking buddies, or great party people, or people you may have been to war with, but they're miserable and, they may not want the best for you,
Well, they're going to look at things from a different perspective, and it's not generally going to be the one that is healthiest for a marriage relationship.
Right. So overall, what I think is going to happen, reading through the tea leaves, is I think we're going to end up in Tennessee. I think that if there's a place that'll take us there, we'll go there, and we will try to rebuild from Tennessee and get a solid base to maybe RV from out of there, or look to drop roots somewhere around there and just go and just run with it. The part of me that there's a very big part of me that can't wait to drop roots in a Christian community where I feel like my family is set up for success.
Yeah. I mean, if the goal, we've been talking awful lot about Tennessee, so if the goal is to pick that state to live in, certainly spending time there in a uncommitted rental will help us kind of get the on-the-ground experience of picking exactly where. So there's benefits there.
So Chris Scott quoted some scripture. He said, "Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." Matthew 6:3-4. Candace, hey Candace, how you doing? Communication is critical, especially being able to confide and be honest and trust your feelings are respected and not repeated.
So having someone that won't go and gossip about your situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't love Lauren any less. Lauren doesn't love me any less. We want the same destination. Yeah. We're just disagreeing on whether we take a boat, a plane, or an automobile.
Or an RV.
Or an RV. So, so again, this week sucked. So, I debated not even having a show tonight because I was like, how am I going to lead tonight when I'm rocked?
Yeah.
When I'm rocked and when I'm not coming in here with a rock solid plan of how things should be and able to speak from a position of power and authority on all that, I'm going to be coming in there and I'm going to be reeling. And I think our audience would agree that we've been reeling since minute 6 of this podcast. But I felt like I wanted to be honest with you guys and transparent, because even though it's a very polished, well, I don't know how polished I am, but Lauren's very polished in her Santa PJs, which
Friday night special, yo. They're gonna now that they've been announced, they will be making their appearance every Friday. Doesn't matter the month, doesn't matter the weather. I will be wearing Santa PJs.
Yeah.
It was snowing today, okay? So it's like practically Christmas.
I don't even know where I was going. I get so distracted when I looked down and you were actually wearing the Santa PJ.
I did it on purpose. We were talking about seeming polished, which I don't think that we
are.
No,
I mean, maybe polished is the wrong word. Our life, and I've been in a bad marriage, and, and I know plenty of my friends and plenty of other people who have been in bad experiences. and we have a 99 point whatever, like, awesome life. And when they come up, it's like going from Disney World to, like, because we're so used to being spoiled and in this great spot, to like Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever. And that's like so very melodramatic or whatever. But, you know, it's just obvious when we're out of sync.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We weren't even in the same station this week.
We weren't in the same state.
No.
So that's been our week.
Strength and honor to all you guys for listening to this therapy session. What did we came up with a new name, Parathy, right? Therapy?
Yeah, Parathy.
We were trying to do a play of Perry and therapy. Therapy.
Therapy. That's what it was. Therapy, yeah.
Friday night therapy.
So, you know, what do we want to work on, you know, for Friday night? You know, I've been sitting around trying to figure out what skill, what how to, what, you know, what little glimmer of knowledge can I give you guys that may help you? So I recently, you know, I've been living on the RV forums, and I saw this couple called The Odd Couple who has a pretty funny, helpful RV show, and they put out a security emergency operation plan episode. That was freaking terrible. They need to stay in their wheelhouse and not be out of their wheelhouse, and their politics are mixed, and, you know, they were talking about firearms and a bunch of other things, and they did put out a lot of good stuff, but I think this brought me to the point where I think everyone should be talking about what their self-defense home weapon is. And from, you know, there's a lot of people out there, and if I swear to God, if anyone who watches this podcast says, nothing stops a burglar or a rapist like with a shotgun, like, that is the stupid. One, you just gave away your position, and two, you just announced you didn't have a loaded gun before that, and, you know, and three, I don't believe that actually works. Like, I have a gun, here's a laser dot on your chest, I'm willing to pull the trigger and get out. It would be far more effective than, you know, I mean, that just drives me crazy. So anyways, so what should your bedside weapon be? And I'm going to tell you something that most other people won't. It's not a shotgun. I don't think a shotgun is any, you know, that's the last thing to add to your arsenal unless you're a hunter. You know, it's got a lot of flexibility. It's a great tool for breaching. It's a great tool for different things. You can load rock salt and all the whatever. No, if you truly want to defend your family in the most situations possible, it's an AR-15. It literally is an AR-15, which is a rifle, which you can get in most places, versus a pistol.
Are there any available right now?
Well, that would be very hard.
Are you going to have to give it right back to the government?
Scott said, I have a sharpened soup spoon. An FN-57. Those are all great. I love an AR-15. I love the common 5.56 round. The prepper in me says get stuff that everyone has so you can use everyone else's ammo. You know, it doesn't really matter to me, the manufacturer. I have some high-end manufacturers for my ARs. But all of them will work just as well unless you're looking to lay down and, like, make a 500-yard or a 700-yard shot with a 5.56 round, which if you're doing it with green tip, it ain't happening. Mm-hmm. You know, so again, doing that, getting an AR and then getting some good hollow point ammo. I recommend, you know, at least 70, you know, 68, 70 grain hollow point boat tail ammunition for that. You don't want a ball tip because it's going to penetrate. It's going to travel further than you want. You want something that's going to hit and mushroom. Plus, you know, green tip ammo goes so fast it just flies through things. Unless you hit a bone or a major blood vessel, an organ, it's really not going to do what you want it to do. Whereas those hollow tips will mushroom and cause so much more damage and frag out. So again, I know that AR and pistol caliber carbine, you know, yeah, 100%. You know, I also, you know, my go-to is a Glock with an extended mag. Happen to have, just because I bought it, not because, when I was still on the PD and I was getting 40 caliber ammunition for free. So I have a 40 cal Glock with an extended 22 round mag on the side of my desk with a laser light combo, right? And that's for me to navigate my house, because if anyone is in my house, I know I can make a shot. I got 22 rounds. I've got other mags with me. I've got a light. I got a laser on it, and I can really manipulate it in and around the tight spots around my house.
Yeah.
Pretty easily. And I keep my ARs locked up more than I have my pistols. My pistols are easier to get to. It's just the way the safes and the gear that we have, that's how we have it set up. Could it be an AR that I went to? Absolutely, because an AR or a rifle is not just a firearm. It's also a spear. It's also a club.
That goes with Sky's question, is the spoon affixed like a bayonet?
I have a sharpened soup spoon. Let's see. The rawness you both are exhibiting is desperately needed in Christian world. Perfect. Strength and honor you both. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. It's not easy to sit here and say anything negative about this girl because there's next to nothing there.
Who doesn't like to have a good old relationship talk on
To
air?
the world. So anyways, get a flamethrower and you'll never have to worry about mags in a liberal state. Yeah, you just won't have a house left. You have to hit the street corner just to buy the ammo these days. I've stopped training with my ammo, and some people are gonna make fun of me. I think airsoft is the way to go. Dry firing, whatever you need to do until ammo comes out of this like deadlock freeze that it's in. Keep buying it, keep storing it, and and then use it when you can. No, sir, it's a close-up and personal weapon. Spork is better. Sporks are dangerous, man. Baby B will tell you that. She looked at one the other day and she was like, what is this? It's not a spoon. It's not a fork. It's not a knife. What is this?
Yeah.
Spork. So what are some of your guys' favorite bedside weapons? And we're getting ready to start a challenge. We're trying to figure out how we're going to run it. And it's a weapons check. And at random times throughout the day on our Instagram and our Facebook, we're going to take a picture of where we are and where our firearm is. And you're going to have X amount of time to show it. So one of my favorite places to do that is in the shower, is to show that you should be carrying in the shower. You're never more vulnerable, particularly if you're alone, than you are in the shower. Think about it.
Yeah, I saw a headline the other day. It told him that someone used their shower gun to shoot an intruder because they were naked in the shower when someone broke into their house.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. You're in there, depending on your curtain. If it's a solid curtain, you can't see beyond it. Steam and the water noise and everything else is running interference. And, so you can't hear, you can't see, you can't feel, your eyes are closed.
You're slippery.
You're naked. Like, you don't want to fight like that. And there you are. So having, and I really love my Glock 43 for that. It's just a dream gun, and it's so easy to just tuck away somewhere up high where I can get to it, and, locking the door and having some of the things you can do if you're home alone at night and you're a female, you can have a dog bring your dog in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One, they're a great trip device. They're a great tripwire, right? Because they're going to be in someone's feet.
Yeah.
2, they're going to freak out. And 3, they can't get the steak and lure them away or whatever out of there. Hunting knife and a 45, nothing else. OPSEC, good vibes. I'm not a big fan of 45s, man. I'm not a big fan. 175, 70 pounds of fur missile. Exactly. I figured you'd say Glock guy still. Yeah, I'm not a 45 guy, McNeely. I just, particularly 1911s, I feel like they're just giant bricks. They're a better throwing item than they are a shooting item. If hollow points didn't exist, I would say fire the biggest caliber gun you could. Otherwise, I'm all about 9mm all day with the best ballistic round you can afford to buy. I'm all about higher mag capacity. Carrying around a big brick with a big weight, I'm not a big fan of. Not to poo-poo on your gun, I'm just saying that. Our 95-pound dog is glued to us when we are home.
Candace, that's the truth. Like, you have a choice to keep the dogs out.
Candace, we know you. We know you bring your Labradoodle. Is it Labradoodle?
Golden Doodle, Labradoodle.
Oh, yeah, one of those things. One of those
Fluffy,
furry, curly
poodle-like
things.
dogs.
Yeah.
Way
Very
better.
sweet. Very sweet. So,
Bert.
yeah. So I hope that brought some clarity to you guys because, again, if I hear one more person talking about a shotgun and particularly a pump action shotgun, if you're not good with a pump action shotgun, you should not be using a pump action shotgun. Like that weapon system takes some skill to use, right? Whereas an AR is literally nothing. It's a safety. It's pull the trigger. You get 30 rounds. You got a low capacity shotgun that you have to cock, and I mean, it's just a nightmare. So anyways, I really don't recommend them. And I love how idiot gun salespeople always try to give revolvers to women because they're too weak to cock it, right? Like they can't chamber around when all they have to do is put it on the counter and lean into it.
Yeah.
Like how freaking hard is that? Like, do you weigh
It's harder to think to do that than to actually do it.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. Like if you can't do that, then you probably can't stand and you probably can't do anything else.
You probably shouldn't have the gun.
You probably shouldn't have a gun. You're probably a paraplegic if you can't do that. I mean, that's how easy that is to do. So, again, it's kind of, you get a bunch of guys out there who wanted to be military, who aren't military, who go and work in gun stores and tell women they have to shoot revolvers when revolvers are a lot harder to shoot. So, get an AR or get a high capacity Glock. I've actually heard 6 Hour's done some really good things lately. So I'm considering going to the 6 Hour, to a 6 Hour pistol because of the ambidextrous controls and, all that stuff. So people who are not trained will often short stroke or forget to cycle a pump. Without a doubt, Salty Sam. Shotguns are awesome if you're good at them. If you're not good at them, don't touch one. I mean, don't touch one. I mean, they're just, one, if you're shooting a slug, it's going to travel way further than you ever thought it would. It's going to go through your wall, the next wall, the next wall, the next wall, and out the back. And, you got kids in your house, you get all this stuff. Whereas an AR with hollow points isn't going to hardly go anywhere. A 9mm with hollow points is barely going to go anywhere as far as penetration goes. So people don't really think about the backstop factor of that. So I need to strengthen on it. I need a refill.
How's that white wine treating you?
You know what? It's not as good as red. I don't get the skin flush red.
Happy
whatever.
red wine feeling?
But I mean, it's been a difficult episode, right? I mean, to go with a difficult week.
Right.
But how's your wine since you're still in your first glass?
It's all right. It's not a Trump wine.
What do you want to show the crowd what you're drinking there? What your twist off special is?
Yeah, it's twist off, guys. Anything that has like a sunset on the label, it's sure to be fruity. It's just called Mediterranean Red.
Wow. So Scott said, I wish I didn't have to sell everything I had. Left with a 22 pistol for now. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. I sold off my SIG 320s. I ended up liking the SWMP line better, without a doubt. Eat some cheese with that wine. Well, you know what? There was a really interesting study out there, guys.
That was the most awkward interview I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Tucker Carlson interviewed Brett Favre because there was some good news about cheese, and he's the most
And so
favorite.
we had Brett Favre on, Mr. Cheese.
Didn't make much sense, but hey, cheese is way good for you. It fights off
Alzheimer's and like brain
Alzheimer's
aging.
and brain aging and brain decomposition. So cheese is really, really good for
See,
you.
I said, no
So I'm
wonder
so
you're so
pumped.
brilliant.
You know what I'm saying? So my wife has always been like, cheese is bad. Cheese is bad cheese. And I'm just, cheese is good. Cheese is really good. And now I have evidence that cheese is good.
I'm so happy for you.
Do you want to have some cheese?
My body doesn't like cheese. I still maintain the same position on dairy.
Yeah. So anyways, that's going to be tough.
But yeah, it was a very awkward interview because Tucker was like, so do you eat more cheese than the average person, whatever? And he was like, well, I actually probably eat a lot less. Like,
But
oh,
like, what type of cheese do you like? Cream cheese.
cream cheese.
Is cream cheese even really cheese?
It's a kind.
I mean, I don't know. Is it really considered? Because it's not a solid cheese. It's
Well, goat cheese. There's other spreadable cheeses.
goat
I don't know
cheese
what the qualifications are to be a cheese. It's a thick dairy product. I don't know what makes it cheese. It's good.
yeah. All I know is if I had to rank my top 3 cheeses, I would say Mexican blend.
We're going really fancy here, guys. The
No.
pre-shredded.
No. Cheddar, a mild cheddar. I'm not a sharp guy. I would also say next would be a big fan of provolone, like a buttery provolone, and then Parmesan.
Yes, for all your Italian food.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren?
I loved a good brie. I like the soft. I'm like Brett Favre. I like the soft cheeses. I like goat cheese. I like brie. And
I
I
wonder
used
why you defended him so ardently.
I defended him. I just said it was the most awkward interview. And I liked a good sharp cheddar cheese cracker.
Yeah, crackers is the thing that you must really miss.
Yeah. I used to love a good Triscuit with cheese.
Oh, no. Ritz with, yeah. Ritz. I miss Ritz crackers.
If anyone wants to contribute their favorite cheeses to this really deep conversation, feel free. Feel free. Tell us what you're eating.
So I think we'll wrap it up with the Bible. So this week, I burned through Judges, went through Ruth. I'm in Samuel right now, and Chronicles, and some other stuff that I got done this week. And again, it's painfully clear to me that the questions I have and the trouble that I've had with the Bible, I'm not struggling with anymore. One, for those of you who've never read the Bible, I find it gets better as it goes, except for like Chronicles and, the 42 pages of whose son is who,
Yeah.
And how the conversation is a bit cheesy. Thank you, Sam. But no, it literally shows you that Christianity has to be real because nobody would choose these people as their heroes willingly. Like the most fallible, horrible people are listed in the Bible. I mean, people who sacrificed their daughter as a burnt offering when they didn't have to. And, people who take their concubine wife and cut her up into pieces and send her to all the tribes because she was raped. That's coming. You're a couple days behind me. Yeah.
No.
So they wanted to have sex with this dude. I'm not going to say, I can't even say the names if I wanted to. It was another Sodom and Gomorrah thing.
Yeah.
He went in the city. A bunch of guys came out.
Yeah, I think I've read these.
And so no. So they send out the concubine wife. So they all, run a train on her until the morning. And she shows up, beat up and whatever. And he's Captain Compassion, of course not. Even though she just took one for the team for him. And then he takes her home and doesn't say anything. Cut her up into pieces and sent her to the 12 tribes of Israel. And they declared war on the nation that allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
Like the perspective, holy smokes, the Jewish people have, no wonder why there was so much anti-Semitic feelings about them because there's the most popular book in the world is 1,000 pages of how horrible they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a lot of ways. I know you've tried to justify the Vikings recently based on what you're reading in.
Well, yeah, I used to think
Testament.
the Vikings were horrible because Christianity had involved. There was post-Christ, obviously, with Christianity.
Yeah.
It wasn't Judaism. So them raiding and burning and looting and killing the men and taking the women. Well, the Jews were just killing everyone, even babies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy smokes. And it's just so hard for for a modern mind to.
Well, and so then say what your little revelation was today about how God would give the Israelites or sell the Israelites into the hands of these other nations if they've done that, and you're like, maybe the Vikings are one of the people that they
maybe the Vikings were used by
put the
God
hands-
to punish, bad Gentile Christians. Now, as far as I know, God hasn't punished Gentile Christians. He's only punished the Jews who entered into the covenant with them and, dispersed them and all the betrayals that the Jewish nation has done with them. But maybe. All I know is I don't judge the Vikings as hard anymore, even though they were slightly behind.
And so now he feels a little bit more okay playing the games and watching the show.
I feel a little bit better now, kind of pulling for Ragnar, even though I shouldn't be pulling for Ragnar. No, never mind. Like we've talked about this before.
He considered being a Christian.
He did consider being a Christian. I wonder how true that is, but he did.
Yeah,
He did temporarily convert.
Yes.
Falsely, but he pretended anyways.
Right. So you're good to go.
Yeah, at least that's what I'm hoping anyways.
McNeely agrees with you.
You agree with me 100% on which part, McNeely?
Probably about the Vikings.
Maybe so. So, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up with another Strength and Honor and call it a night, unless, Lauren, you have something you want to talk about?
No, I think that does it.
I think Lauren said maybe 30 words all night. What do you think?
Thank you for that credit. I appreciate it. You see why we get to where we get? Not everything that comes out of here gets taken into there.
You see. Well, hey, we got 100 messages on Restream, and here's to Lauren surviving a week with this knucklehead. So strength and honor to you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you haven't checked out the swag, we've got Please do. We got some awesome swag on there. We appreciate all the support. The T-shirts are all made in America. The hoodies are not. I couldn't get the good hoodies made in America. They just didn't offer them in my print on demand. But the T-shirts are all made in America, which is why they're so pricey. They're also 4-sided shirts, so they're front, back, left, and right. Really, really, really appreciate you guys, checking out that stuff and backing it. Lauren just dropped a link in there. We really, really, really appreciate it. I'll pray us out right now. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much. Thank you for getting us through this week. Thank you for giving Lauren and I the courage to be transparent tonight and to work through our issues in our struggle, in our pursuit of hearing your word, Lord. Lord, we ask that you go to each and every member of this audience and that you meet them where they're at, Lord, and communicate to them where you want them in their life, what purpose you want them to serve, Lord, because we all want to serve you. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Happy
God bless you.
weekend.
Have a great weekend.